What do you say, everybody? And Roll Tide, welcome to Elephant in the Room, brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. We got a lot to talk about on the show. Thank you for being here. Let me hit this man's open so we can get him talking. All right, there he is. Jake Coker, former Alabama quarterback, national champion. I'm Mick Gillispie hanging out here again, brought to you by Pearl River. Lots to talk about. Since the last time we got together, Bama had a flurry of commitments. Jira Edwards, another 5 stars. Now they're up to 5 stars. They got more than anybody else. And their class is in the top 5 now. But a ton of great talent, and they're knocking down all these guys in the state. We're just waiting on Tank Jones. Can we get Tank? It's the question, Jake. Can we do it?
We got to make a few visits to St. Paul's. I mean, man, it's just I can't imagine being, hometown guy. Got everybody wanting you to play at Alabama. There's something to going there out of high school playing, and all your buddies, friends, family are pulling for you. I think that went a long way with Cedarian Morgan. He was talking about how they all got together. His family, friends, all got together. Alabama football was a big deal on Saturdays in the fall. Again, to be able to go to the school that you've grown up loving to watch, or representing the state that you're from, it's got to mean a lot. And to me, just being able to go play at Alabama, come back, and I always wanted to live in my hometown. It means a lot, and it's really fun to be able to hang out with people that pulled for you in college, and it makes home that much sweeter. So I'd love to see him, St. Paul's guy, go to Alabama. I feel like most guys that are in that Alabama conversation from St. Paul's end up going to Alabama, but we'll see what happens. Lost Trey Williams to Auburn, but he missed out on a good opportunity to play at Alabama.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, Tank's the other guy, like Cedarian Morgan and EJ Crowell. We were kind of watching those 2 guys who just committed, and then Tank's the other guy. Oregon and Texas A&M and Alabama. Those are the 3 schools. That's 2 other schools with big NIL budgets. Bama's probably going to have to spend to get them. Oregon's been in this since the beginning. I think people are kind of underplaying Oregon as far as, man, a spot for him to go. But that's kind of been one of those schools that's been in this mix from the beginning. I'm not surprised that they're in the final 3.
Well, I mean, let's face it, if it's Oregon, A&M, and Alabama, he's leaning towards Alabama for emotional reasons. And then Oregon and Texas A&M, I could see a little bit of Oregon being intrigued there if you're looking at just branding and opportunity. If A&M's in that conversation, being from Alabama, that's all NIL. I mean, that's got to be all NIL. I mean, you go look at those Yale practices and all the goofy stuff that goes on at A&M. I mean, I can't imagine that being. And look, I like the A&M campus. The people are really nice, but to me, that's unless you're. I just don't know how you're attracted to A&M unless you're you're from there and you pulled for A&M for a long time, because it's just a little bit of a different atmosphere. It's not that classic SEC feel, in my opinion, but
Hey, look, man, it's one of those feels, like it's cash feel. You know what I mean? Hey, here's the reason to come, and here's another reason to come.
Yeah.
And when they stack on top of each other, it's easy to figure out why you might, as weird as that whole thing is, be part of that.
I pulled into a lot of SEC campuses, and most of the time you're getting a lot of middle fingers, a lot of people, talking trash to you. they'd want to tip the bus over if they could. I remember going into A&M, and all these A&M fans were lining the road, shaking the shakers and like cheering us on and coming in. And I was trying to see if the decal on the side of the bus was A&M stuff, because I was like, what is going on here? And it just turns out like they cheer for the opposing team coming in, and they're real polite. And I kind of looked around. I was like, man, I like it when the fans are assholes. I like it more when they're just, being reckless with what they're saying. And
right.
You
didn't like Mr. Nice Guy. Get him out of here.
Leave the other fans alone, like the opposing fans alone. But when we roll into a stadium, I like chaos. The worse the treatment, the better. I want it to be like a WWE wrestling match.
You're ridiculous, man. You can't just have like like most places outside of the SEC where people just come to watch the game. You know what I mean?
I just want
chaos of like when you go to, LSU and they're trying to tip the bus over.
I want hostility. I love it.
It makes for good television.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Hey, look, if Tank, if you go out to Oregon, I hope you like plane rides, man, because you're going to be spending a lot of time on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope you enjoy that. Get a good comfortable seat.
Yeah. Hopefully he becomes, if that happens, hopefully he's he gets put in first class way earlier than I did.
It took you a while to get there, huh?
Yeah. I was stuck in the cheap seats between 300-pounders for a long time.
Oh man. Well, look, you made it out of there. You made it out.
That's right. But yeah, man, how things have changed in the last, 2 weeks. We've been talking more and more recruiting. Went from 6 commits to 19, and
yeah, right.
Overnight.
Yeah, so fast. And we answered the question that we were both worried about, really. There's a lot of stuff that we hear where Bama was being negatively recruited by some of our arch rivals about, like, hey, these guys, this new coaching staff, they can recruit, but they're not recruiting guys from Alabama. They don't appreciate what the Alabama guys bring to the table. You're not going to feel comfortable there. And nothing's changed, except DeBoer had a year to kind of get his feet under him. And, you still got to get to the finish line. But these guys grew up Alabama fans. Their family's Alabama fans. It means a lot to them. And they're joining the program, right? And even if they don't get Tank, you're still talking about super elite prospects in a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, what I was a little nervous about was the fact that a couple of weeks ago we didn't have kind of a stable of lesser recruited guys that had been sought out and found and gotten early commits from that Kalen DeBoer and the rest of the team had done and going and finding those diamonds in the rough. And I mean, geez, looks like they all committed right when all the 5 and 4 stars committed, and just all of a sudden overnight we've got a top 5 recruiting class where I think we were in like the 60s, just a month ago or less. Really just incredible the momentum they picked up. And I see Auburn fans talking about August 1st, and that's about the only thing they have to look forward to is hoping that deals fall through and guys come to Auburn with some NIL money that they can provide. But and you never know. I mean, that is kind of the threshold where you find out if you're real or not, I guess, in the recruiting realm. Can you back the promises you've made? And if not, guys are going to be gone. But, at the same time, you're not going to have the continuity in these recruiting classes that you've always had. A lot of these guys, though I wish they would start, year one or stick around and develop. That's not going to happen. Some of these guys are going to leave, but you hope the guys that play early and get some NIL money. Hopefully you're paying the right guys,
Right.
kind of like
Yeah.
what Coach Saban said on game day last year. Hopefully you've made those commitments to the guys that are going to play early, and the guys that may not, you're not stringing yourself along with NIL payments. But, as of right now, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that, hey, be patient. Kalen DeBoer and the rest of that team know what they're doing in terms of recruiting guys and getting guys to love Alabama. We're getting the Alabama guys, which and the Southeastern guys, like we mentioned, would be a big part of this recruiting class. But at the same time, we're getting national attention and recruiting on the same level with the Texases and Texas A&Ms. Just hopefully, again, August 1st, we can really set these in stone and get these guys on campus.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned August 1st. That's when part of the new rules, right? The name, image, and likeness rules go into effect, right? So you could start paying people on the 1st, July 1st, and then August 1st, you have to have a contract and disclose these deals. And so Auburn thinks that teams are making deals that they can't possibly pay, right? I guess and they think that a lot of the deals are going to fall through when they're public.
And that probably, and I wouldn't be surprised if, I think maybe a little bit of that will happen. When there's nothing in writing, it's very hard to determine what's really been guaranteed to you, right?
Right.
So, I imagine some of that will happen, but again, you can't go out there and do that with 19 guys and just expect for you to, keep your reputation. Word travels fast. People figure out who you are pretty quickly. All these recruits are talking. So you better not promise too much without being able to back it up. And look, these coaches have a good idea of what they can pay, and it is kind of funny. I told you what some of these SEC coaches were telling me over the summertime. A lot of these deals are BS just to try to run the price up, on certain recruits, and get competing schools to allocate more money where they don't really want to. So it's a dangerous game. Dangerous game. A lot of misleading information out there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this new system does shed some light on it. But Auburn just isn't convincing people to want to go there and play football right now, and that's their problem to deal with. And I hope it continues. Hey, something I do want to tell you, though, is this right here, Ocean City. Yup, Residence Inn by Marriott, back-to-back coastal-style hotel of the year in Ocean City, right there by the boardwalk, all the great seafood, the awesome sunsets, a lot of great events that go on there, and our buddy Keith runs that awesome hotel. You talk about a great place to go and spend your vacation time. Residence in Ocean City, Maryland. Check them out and tell them that Jake and Mick sent you. Roll Tide. Thank you guys for being a part of what we do. All right. This one was something that was right up your alley, and we just didn't talk to really get into this. But I've got to bring it up to you, and that's Florida State's quarterback, which you actually did that job too, and then came to Alabama and did that. But he transferred in from Boston College, right? Is it Thomas Castellanos?
Yeah, Tommy. I think
Tommy Castellanos. Yeah. Anyway, he basically said some smack talk, like Nick Saban's not there to save him anymore. Basically like Florida State's he's quarterback in Florida State. Like Bama better watch out going into this game.
Yeah, when I first saw that, my immediate reaction was thinking about when Conor McGregor's in the middle of his UFC, one of his pressers, some guy talks trash and he goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" I can't imagine the worst possible thing you could do is talk trash right before a big game that you've got, let alone in the summertime when you get bulletin board material for 3 months prior to this game, and that's all you're talking about. I mean, you're focusing on this guy that talked trash, and everybody's hyped up to play him now. Just that sole focus right there. I mean, Scott Cochran would have that, all over the weight room, all over the training room. When you're getting taped, you're looking at that. When you're lifting weights in a squat rack, I mean, it's right in front of your face. It's the sole focus of the summer. And I mean, I don't think the guy's ever played a snap for FSU yet, and he's talking about just trying to bury Kalen DeBoer and kind of son or little boy Alabama. It makes no sense to me. I mean, it's Alabama's still Alabama. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It's still Alabama, and Florida State didn't come off the best year last year either. So I guess he's trying to get his teammates riled up and give them a little confidence. But you got to be careful who you're lighting the fire under, because Alabama, I mean, historically, that's not the team. It's like when they asked Jonathan Allen after we won the Cotton Bowl my senior year, they said, teams don't just come out and beat their opponents 38-0 in the playoff. And Jonathan Allen looked at the camera and goes, Bama does.
He's one of my all-time favorite players.
Yeah. But it just reminds me of, I don't know. I still don't know some of those comments. Like, I saw the comments in the building. Coach Cochran had them all posted up everywhere, and you read them all throughout the locker room. And I never did my due diligence to figure out if those were real or not. I'm right at about 75% sure that 50% of those comments were made up. I mean, I think he would just put stuff up sometimes that, was not said. But, to have a real one and a real publicized one where, the whole intention there is to embarrass you, ain't a good look. No. And I think he came from Boston College last year where they were middle of the pack ACC. I mean, I don't know, man. I give it to him. He's got some balls. I mean, that takes a lot of confidence to say that. So, he better play well, or it'd be like one of those get your popcorn ready moments from Lane Kiffin.
Oh, I loved that one. That was my all-time favorite. Kiffin thought for sure that it was going to be that he had Saban. He had Saban.
Oh yeah, it was like, I mean,
and then took an ass whooping. It was just so beautiful thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was like that. I remember that. You remember I know you do. The national championship when Barrett Jones and AJ are getting into it.
Yeah.
And that D tackle for Notre Dame is like jumping up and down and talking trash.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there watching, and it's like 45-10 or something, and this D tackle's over there getting excited, and you're like, dude, the fact that they're fighting each other is more embarrassing to you than really any other direct trash talk they could be saying to you. Like,
right.
You're so irrelevant that the team's up by 45, about to win a national championship, and they're getting pissed off at each other. Like, you're not even on the radar. We don't even care about you anymore.
Right.
We're just trying to run our plays correctly. Like, we're just focused on doing the right thing now. We could be going on air.
Do you think that was Saban at Saban coaching in its like super heyday? I mean, that run, because I mean, I can't take away from any of the other time there, but I mean, like Bama was so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like Notre Dame is your bet. Like that's the team that you're playing a championship against. Like, come on, man. Like crushing teams. Like everybody's like dialed in. Like he still had Kirby Smart. You know what I mean? Like like it was just like he was able to adjust and adapt and continue to win. But I wonder if that was like when you look at the bell, right? Is that the top of the curve there, that particular team, that moment? Or do you think there was enough, like it was a different part of that dynasty that was the top?
I mean, I don't know.
What I
It's
mean by
kind
that?
no, I mean, honestly, I think from the time Coach Saban won his first national championship to the last, I mean, because you think I'm trying to keep them all straight now. I mean, 2020 was, I mean, that team, it was a different year, but they were far beyond any competition they played. I mean, I guess they almost lost to Florida. But you're going to have those games throughout the year. I mean, I felt like as soon as he won his first national championship, that was the standard, from then on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You had some down years where I think coming off national championships or you lost some seniors and didn't quite have the same leadership that you had in previous years, caused a little bit of a lull in the postseason. But before the transfer portal, I mean, he had guys for a long period of time, and that's the thing. I learned in college when guys come in, like you've got guys who are mentally ahead of the curve, and those are the guys that play early. Like they stay out of trouble off the field. They're focused on football. They're smart. I mean, they may not be 10-year NFL guys, but they're just so ahead of the curve mentally that they play. And then there's some guys where they're so used to being more talented than everybody else, and they still are in college, but there's so many moving parts in college, and there's so many adjustments you have to make in comparison to high school that you just can't trust them yet. And those guys either take about 2 or 3 years to figure it out and finally fall in love with the game again because they understand what's going on. They don't feel like they're left out, or they end up getting in trouble and they get kicked off the team.
Right.
And now that the transfer portal's opened up, a lot of those guys where they would come along in 3 years, they just up and leave. And they go to the next spot and they're a problem there. Or they go to the next spot and they're a problem there, where you don't have Coach Saban and Coach Cochran there to pull you into his office and talk to him about what he needs to do to play over a period of time. Instead, you up and leave, and it's nothing but a detriment to your career in football. And then, after that, and just learning what it takes to be a reliable player, a reliable coworker, whatever that may be. But I saw so many guys that they had so much talent, and either it took them 2 or 3 years to figure it out and they were absolute animals, or they got in trouble off the field and they were done, or they got kicked off the team, they didn't show up on time. But to me, those are the guys that are really going to struggle with this NIL or the transfer portal. And you just hate to see them not develop. And prior to the transfer portal, Coach Saban was able to get all those guys because he had the control to do it. And I don't want to say control I don't want to say that like it's a negative thing. To me, having that control is only a really good tool for him to develop guys on and off the field. And now that that's gone, it's just hard to maintain a locker room, maintain a culture, build guys up over time. And that build-up process is tough for some of those guys because they're used to playing. They want to play. They want to be the guy, and they always have been. And I mean, if you don't buy in, if you don't realize the awareness to realize that you're not the guy right there because you're not developed enough and you hadn't put the time in, that's usually when things go sideways. And you got to have a coach. For me, a lot of times it was Coach Cochran at Alabama.
Right.
To pull you in and speak to you at a level where, you knew he cared, you knew he wanted you to succeed, and he was going to help you get there. And then Coach Saban bringing me into his office a bunch and talking it through. I mean, it's just invaluable. And you gotta get through that selfish stage where you blame things on other people and treat the situation like the situation is what's getting the best of you rather than what you're doing on and off the field.
Right.
And so again, that's my only issue with the transfer portal and really the amount of, I guess, the lack of continuity in programs and that's why I think Coach Saban got tired of it and was ready to go. I mean, he couldn't develop these guys the way he wanted to because they up and left if they didn't like what he had to say. And I always felt like he was being honest. He told you what he thought, and if you did what he said, then you were going to find a way to get on the field somehow. I mean, if you had the talent, and you just had to trust in them. It's a lot more fun when you trust your coaches and buy in than sitting there and pouting and complaining. I mean, I'd much rather get along with my teammates and coaches and have their respect based on how hard I work than build a wedge between me and my teammates and coaches and get ready to transfer pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, you transferred is different. I mean, you put your time in, you graduated, you got, and you weren't going to start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when I was leaving Florida State, I mean, I had a lot of buddies, a lot of close friends on that team. It was hard to leave, but I mean, all my teammates knew I was leaving. I mean, you had Jamison that was a year above me and he was the starter. And I mean, I had, I was trying to keep it under wraps the entire time because I didn't want to be a distraction. And I had teammates coming up to me asking me like, "What are you doing? When are you leaving?" I mean, and not like not like, "Man, get out of here." It was like, just looking out for me, just asking and checking in. I mean, it was a mutual thing for sure.
Right.
I mean, Jimbo called me in 2 days after the national championship, and he was like, "So, where you going?" I was like, I don't know yet. I mean, I hadn't gotten out there. He goes, "Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do." He goes, I know people have been reaching out." I was like, "Yeah, I'm probably going to Alabama."
That's funny. Yeah, you're not one to hold back information if it's not true.
I tried to play it dumb, and he was like, "Okay." Yeah, he was basically like, "When are you going to Alabama?" I was like,
"Yeah, right.
Couple months."
Yeah, pretty soon. Well, when you hear, this guy, the Florida State quarterback, he transferred in, and he's talking smack before he's even played a game, right? Like, I know for you that drives you nuts, just because you can't stand that anyway.
I don't even know if he knows
a guy that's not even played a damn snap yet. Like he's over here.
I don't even know if he knows his teammates' names yet. Like, what? I mean, the guy doesn't even know where the library is.
Right. Yeah. He's changing the culture there. Like he's going to set the tone for everybody. It's all fun and games until you get punched in the mouth. Isn't that what Mike Tyson said?
Yeah, that's right.
In the mouth. Well, I love it. I love it because it is the Coker Bowl. And you've been on both sidelines. We know where you'll be now, but still pretty cool. You do like Florida State. You love Florida State too, and I can't wait for us to go to Tallahassee. and check it out. For
yeah, I was talking to my Florida State crew yesterday. I gotta get them to hook us up, figure out where we're going.
Yeah, and have some of them on, man. I mean, which should be fine on the tailgate show.
We will
have like a panel.
Yeah, we may have to hire a couple people to edit it, but
like yeah, God rest Brett's soul. That would be something he would not be happy about. And guys, what we're talking about is that a big sexy Elmo had to edit the shows and if on the tailgate show, our radio show. So what we do on here, there's no FCC rules, but when we put it out on radio for the state, like you gotta take all the bad words out. And I just every time somebody would slip up, you'd see his face. I see him writing. Gotta go in here and edit. That's one of Wisconsin last year when he's like I took out, what did he say? I know he took out like 3 shits and talking about Ryan Anderson.
Yeah.
I went back and listened. I was like, man, we have a clean show. Such a good job. I missed that guy, man. Belated happy birthday.
So this one will be like Ryan Anderson's first show times 5 or 6.
Yeah, times 5. Yeah, let's go. Well, look, man, it was fun talking to you again. And I want everybody to look good when they come to Florida State, and you can do that. Roback, use the promo code Crimson20, get 20% off using our promo code. Any email address, new email address, it counts. Use it and come looking good, man. They've got the hoodies, they've got the polos, they got golf gear, office gear. Roback.com. Coker, you're a big Roback guy. I know you love the Roback shirts and gear. And then also maybe when we get out to Dancing Rabbit Golf Course in Pearl River, where we're planning on doing some golfing here sometime soon and doing our shows from down there. The Azaleas, the Oaks, 2 fantastic golf courses. You know, I mean, every time you're there, we stay in the clubhouse, which you can do. We get a golf cart. We can ride over to the sports book, Silver Star, Golden Moon. You like playing the table games, the big slot selection there, really fantastic slots. Concerts. I mean, they got it all. Water parks open. We should do that next time. Do the lazy river.
There you go. Hey, I gotta get my daughters into a water park. Took them to the beach Saturday. Freaking loved it. I think they'd fall in love with a wave pool and water slides.
Yeah, got it all, man. All right, guys, thanks for hanging with us. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
To Pearl River Resort.